Hi, everybody. It's Dee Slater with Create with Dee. Welcome to my Thursday noon lives. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today, we are going to be making a double Z fold stand up card. And I think it's a wow card. So, when you really want to make that statement card or have a little bit more of a showcase, I think I've got a showstopper for you today. And actually, it's pretty easy as well. Um, if for those of you that follow me weekly, I've been discovering and rediscovering different fun folds, and I'm just like really enjoying doing all of that. I don't know if that's how you guys are too, that maybe you've made something in the past, or all of a sudden different paper, different colors, different themes catches your eyes, and you get re-energized to try it. As always, when you come on, if you want to say hello and where you're watching from, I'm here in Northeast Indiana in a city called Kendallville. It's close to Fort Wayne, Indiana, as well as the Michigan border, about an hour in either direction. Okay, as people are getting notifications and they're coming on, I'll first show you what we're going to be making. So we're going to be making this card. I absolutely love it. It's a double Z fold, and we kind of make the extra Z fold in it. I'll kind of share with that. And it's using some of the new online exclusives, the Floral Charms suite of products. So I'm going to also share with you my creative class this month. It's using and I always get tongue-tied on this, it's Paintedly Prayers suite of products, and we are going to be making fault line cards. So I think that the cards are just gorgeous, and they're all having the same layout. So if you follow me on my newsletter or on Facebook, I'll have links up here in the next couple of days on how that you can get this class kit to go. Okay, let me turn the camera around and we'll get started on today's class. Maybe. Let's see here. There we go. All right, so as of the time of the video, Stampin' Up, every 2 months, they release new online exclusive, kind of to keep the products fresh and current and everything. And so there's all of these new products. There's 3 new suites, Floral Charm, the Painterly Pairs, that's what the Creative Club's going to feature this month. And a Halloween one, if you want to get started on that, Spooky Sweet, that's hard to say, as well as some other holiday stamps and such. So if you were on my newsletter, you also you could download this PDF, and anyways, it'll be on my Facebook group as well. All righty, so let's get started talking about this suite that we're going to be featuring here today. Again, it's the Floral Suite, and I thought I would just share with you. I'm going to be making these boards. I think they're a little more, you can see them a little better, but here's the colors that's going to be in it, some of the ribbons, etc. So there's how all of the dies look with it. Okay, so there's that. And let's get started just right into it. Get the card back here. Got a little sniffles here. Let me get my tissue out. Well, the card today couldn't be, in my opinion, any easier. I made it so that it's just, straight cutting of your cardstock and your designer paper with a little zhuzhing up on an embossing folder. Hi, Terry. How are you? So let me go ahead and put the measurements up here. I always kind of like to do this. Let me know if you like this. This is the second week in a row that I've just gone ahead and typed up some instructions, and then that way you can always just take a freeze frame of it, etc. I will have this on my blog as well, but for right now you can do that. Okay, so that's going to be our measurements, and I'll go over that as we go along too. Let me get back to the one. There we go. All right. So our Z-fold card has our typical card base it starts with. So 4 1/4 by 11. And I've got it scored ahead of time at 5 1/2. I'm using Blackberry Bliss. It's one of the colors that's in that designer paper suite. Now the Z-fold part of it, this is going to be 4 by 9 3/4. Friends, I've seen a lot of these different double Z-fold, and this one, like the measurements that I have here, I think they're super easy. I don't have 8s or anything like that, just kind of typical matting. So again, this is 4 by 9 3/4, and I've got it scored at 5 1/4 and 7 1/2. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to make this first Z fold. So this is the 5 1/2, folding it inward, and this goes back. Okay, so that's a Z fold there, right? We're used to that. Now here's where the magic of the double Z fold comes. When we mat it on here, and let me go ahead and do so. So this panel here, in essence, is our 4 by 5 1/4, very typical layering. So I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue. You can use your adhesive of choice on the back there. And we're going to just layer that right on top of our card base. I've already got glue. All right, so now we've just made, and this is where our double Z fold comes in. So now we kind of have, it's kind of more of a W. I mean, I know, I get that, but you know, that's where like the double comes in. And now we've just made it where it kind of stands up. So what I like about this, instead of just like a typical maybe standing Z fold, is that it's actually a whole card that you can put on the inside too, and it really stands up better. Okay, I'm going to get this really burnished. And the more, as we know that with like a stand-up card, the more that you play with the fold, the more relaxed it becomes. All right, if you can do that, you can make a double Z-fold stand-up card. So let's go ahead and let's put some pretty layers on it. So this is part of that Floral Charms designer paper. It's got some, it is a floral, but I'm going to call it, it's kind of like a fallish floral because it's got timid tiger, kind of some Cajun craigs, even though it's not officially in there, rich raspberry, so really some nice rich florals that kind of make me think fall. And it's got a basic beige backing on it. So that all kind of lends itself to our fall cards. Doesn't have to be fall, but I think it kind of looks fallish with those autumn colors that I'm pulling out. Oh, this was Mossy Meadow. I didn't tell you that on the one Z fold. All right, so this layer here is 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to take another piece of designer paper. This is 2 by 3 3/4. Again, all of those measurements were on that first screen, so you can go back and grab that if you want. I'm going to fold this up, and it's going to go on this front panel here. So if you want, you can open that up all the way. Alexandria, hi there. Welcome, welcome, Bobby. And so like this paper does have directions, so you just want to make sure this bottom panel is going up. And if you wanted to, you could decorate that as well. It's the same size. Okay, so that's how that's going to fold up and look. Now I've got 3 layering pieces of cardstock. Rich raspberry, I'm just kind of pulling the first 2 layers that we had here as far as the color palette. So I've got rich raspberry 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Mossy Meadow 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. And Cajun Craze, and this is 3 1/4 and 2 1/4. And ahead of time, I did emboss this. So just add a little texture. I always like to have a little texture on the cards, a little bling and a little texture. Texture can be in the form of like maybe an embossing, a ribbon, linen thread, baker's twine, just some texture to add that other kind of element to it. Oops, don't want to do that. right? So all of these are just going to get layered together. So this is going to be our front panel here that we're putting together. Okay, we've got that and this. If you wanted to, you could also use the smaller panel here for your, like, maybe use the lighter cardstock and you can stamp elements on that as well. I'm just doing a 3-layer. So now what I want to do is I'm going to kind of stage this to center it. So when it's closed, it looks nice and even on that, but it's not halfway on here. So if you, it's about the bottom third of that. We do not want any adhesive on the top because this is going to stand. That's our panel that's going to stand open here. So I'm going to, there's no up and down on that one. I'm going to put some adhesive on the bottom third-ish of the cardstock and place it down and center it. Friends, you could use any size here that you want. You could do the arch shapes that we have. You could do like the postage stamps. It doesn't have to be this stamp. So play around, or size. So play around with the size on what you have as your focal point. So that's how that's going to look when it's standing up. And I'm going to take the some of the images and the dies with the Charming Day. This is the bundle that goes with the paper and the suite of products. Ahead of time, I stamped with Memento ink on basic beige, this floral image, and I die cut it out, just kind of saving time a little bit. I don't know, I know I've said this several times on our lives, but I don't know what is happening with my blends. Every time I go to get a color, I must have gone out and not replaced it. So I'm kind of playing around with the colors, and I am waiting on my Timid Tiger, which is one of the orange tones, to come in stock. But the beauty of the blends is you can kind of mix and match what everything is. So I'm going to be using for my orange tones instead of Timid Tiger, which is what I would recommend to pull out the colors. I have, I'm using light Cajun Craze and I'm using light Pumpkin Pie. So I'm going to use those colors to color this image here. And also, let me just kind of show this up close a little bit. I also am going to be showing how to use the color lifter when you're coloring images to get some two tones in there and some really interesting high lows without always having to use the actual blending process on it. So I'm going to color this fairly quickly here. Also, you can, if you use cardstock other than basic white, just know that your colors may look darker, appear darker, because of course it's not going on a crisp white background. It's going on something that's a little darker, so that undertone will come through on that. So this is light Pumpkin Pie. And as you can see there, that's not horrible on the match, but I'm going to also add real quickly here, light Cajun Craze. Kind of just come over that a little bit and kind of blend those colors in together. Kind of the two of them together gives me that tone that I'm looking for. And I'm purposely leaving a little variation on it. Blackberry Bliss and Berry Burst are some color tones in here. So on the purple flower, there's another little rose here. This is the dark Berry Burst. I'm going to use that here. Again, I'm just coloring very quickly. If I was doing it, you know, I might take a little more time, but, you know, for the sake of the video, we'll just kind of do that. If you wanted to, you could use Blueberry Bliss, which is what I kind of did on the other one. I'm going to leave that as Berry Burst this time. And now I have some light Mossy Meadow for the leaves. So again, I'm just kind of go fast, because what I really want to kind of show on this is how you can use the color lifter to get those variations of color in there. A color lifter is meant to be used if you make a mistake and you want to actually lift the color off of your project. And it's not an instant one. It's not like having an eraser with a pencil. You have to let it kind of do its magic a little bit, but you can also use it for highlights, which is what I want to show you here. So I'm almost done. So on here, if you wanted to, you could take your light and dark blends and get your color tones on it. Let me just kind of show you what this looks like. Okay, so that's that. Now here's the color lifter. It's sold separately. It is just that, a lifter. And it does have like the fine and the broad, or a fine and a broad point, just like all of the other markers. I'm going to use the fine point, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make some highlights. Again, it's not going to be dramatic right off the bat, but I'm going to come here and I'm going to go over where the veins of the leaves are. And then I'm going to add a little highlight swirls on my flowers. You don't have to worry about the colors bleeding in from one to another with the lifter. It's just going to do that. It's going to lift off some color. All right, so I'm going to give that just a second and come back over here real quick. All right, so, oops. The more time that you give it, the more it'll start to pull that color off. Do that a little bit, try to make it. So here's what that's going to look like right now. So here's where this is. Hopefully you can see that. Let me get the light on it a little bit, but you can see where where the veins getting just a little lighter on it, and like this was all one solid color, and it's starting to lift. So I'm going to just let that sit aside. The longer you do it, the more it'll play around with that lifter on it. Let's do some other stamping. I'm going to use this. I love the sentiments in this stamp set. It's, thanks for being you. Can't wait to see you again soon. You made my day. Happy birthday, and hey, I just love the fonts and the inside outside sentiments that you can have on that. I'm going to take my Timid Tiger ink, and this one, oh no, not for this, not just yet. That's for the inside. Taking my Blackberry Bliss for the outside sentiment, and this is the one that says, thanks for being you. And this is a cling, or the red rubber stamp set. And I never put the labels on because I can't do it. I've tried all of the tips and tricks, and I just struggle with it. So I just don't even put my labels on. Okay, so let's go ahead and see on that. You can kind of see a little more that the lifters, really taking off, and you can keep coming back and lift more and more of that off. In fact, I think I will, because I'm not seeing the effects that I want on my flower. Oh, that looks good. I just didn't rub it quite enough. There we go. All right, that's really going to start to pop. All right, I also have, because I like my glimmer, I've got my clear Wink Stella, and I'm going to put that over top. Get my bling. So we'll do that. You can really see that now kind of turning. Can you see how I really went over with the broad tip on that? It just gives it an easy way of getting color dimension without too much fuss. All right, I'm going to put, now this is where you can decide how you want your your focal image to be. Last time I had this where that was kind of facing down. I think this time I'll have it facing up. And so I'm going to put dimensionals just on the back side here. Let me know in the comments if you've ever made this type of a double Z fold. I don't remember ever making one of these that stand up like this. It's kind of like an easel stand up. An easel's not maybe the right terminology, but you know, it kind of feels like that in a way. And so I like to close my card so that I know that when it's, you know, put in the envelope that it's all covered. Look how pretty that is. And I'm going to do 3 dimensionals on the back of my sentiment. I use the Stylish Shapes, the circle, the stitch circle with, again, basic beige. That's the neutral color background that I'm going to be using. And then that's just kind of going to live right here in the corner. All right, let's go ahead, and for the inside, I've got our basic beige 5 1/4 by 4. Let's do some stamping on the inside. And on this time, I'm using the phrase, you know, thanks for being you. And the inside's going to say, you made my day. Let's see if I can do this straight. Oops. You made my day. And I did use Timid Tiger with that. And if you want to, you can go ahead and there's a smaller floral image. And what I'm going to do, I'll show you what I did on the inside of the original, but on this one, I'm just going to, you watched me already color, so we're not going to do that again. But I'm going to pick up the Blackberry Bliss and just do a stamped image on the inside. And let's go ahead and put that on the inside. So here's where we're folding it all the way up. Let's see, Terry said she's made something similar, except it's a tower in the front. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, I know which ones you're talking about. Yes, those are fun. All right, so again, just kind of do this. And let's add some of our bling. I'm going to pull this out of my display board here. So this is Charming Shimmer. And what's nice about these, again, these are flat, so there's not a whole lot of raisedness to it. So it makes for shipping and putting it in the mail a little easier. I'm going to pick the Blueberry Bliss or the Berry Burst colors here. You can add as many or little of the gems that you want to it. I'm going to put 3 here on the sentiment. So thanks for being you. And even if you wanted to, you could put something on the inside. Let's see, let's put one of these. We'll bling up our inside flower a little bit. And that's it. So here's what I did on the inside here. I got a little carried away with my color lifting and it started to bleed. So that is something, I kept that here just to kind of show you to be a little bit careful when you do the color lifting. But you can see here how that really, the tones around the inside vein of the leaf really gave it that color dimension. Hopefully that's showing up. And let's take a look at the sample that we did. So here you can really see the color lifting. So you can get some interesting highlights by adding the color lifter to your repertoire of coloring. All right, let me turn the camera around. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you can't wait to try it, Terry. All right, let me turn the camera around. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this double Z-fold stand-up card on here. And, you know, I always talk about mantle cards. This is such a mantle card, right? You know, it's going to be displayed. It stands up so nice. Just with the overall layout, I think that if you had like I know that there's a lot of sports pictures right now for our youth in in baseball, etc. In fact, they might already be done with the baseball photos. But I just got my great niece's. She turned 6, and she gave me her dance pictures that were like the wallet size. Like, how cute would it be to send somebody a picture of somebody in here, and then you have the little stand up. A wedding announcement would be pretty, or any type of invite that you want them to kind of stand up and look at, besides just a beautiful card. All right. Thanks, Bobby. And I'm glad that you liked it. Well, everybody have a great, at the time of the video, we're nearing on the 4th of July celebration here in the USA. So everybody enjoy your holiday weekend. I hope you can spend it with some friends and family, eat lots of barbecue. And as always, have a great day. Happy crafting. Bye-bye. Maybe.